we're going to go to the Megillah, and we're going to understand something. There was the sin of the Jewish people who went to that big party of Ahasuerus. Let me just read it quick because we need these words for a certain reason, which might not be apparent yet, but let's just go through it real quick, okay? Vahi b'mei Achashverosh, in the days of Achashverosh, hu Achashverosh hamolech mehodu ve'ad Kush, sheva v'esim u'ma'am medina. That he was over those countries. Vayamim ahem keshevet hamelech Achashverosh al kisei melchuto, he was sitting on his throne, asher b'Shushan habira, b'shnat shalosh temalchon, his third reign, asa mishteh, he made a party of Chol Sarav, Avadav, all the ministers, Chayel, Paras, Umadai, Hapartemim, Vesre, Medinot Lefanav, Behar Oto, and he showed at that party, which was for everybody, not just a Shushan party, which came next, meaning for everybody, the whole entire world. Et Osher Kevod Malchutod, his wealth and splendor of his kingdom, Vet Yekar, Tiferet Gidulato. And again, the splendor of the Tiferet, which is the beauty, Gedulato of his greatness, Yamim Yarabim, many days, Shemonim Umat Yom, 180 days. Okay, remember that, 180 days. Ubimlot Hayimim Ele, and when these days ended, Asa HaMelech, the king, Lechol Ha'am Umtzim Shushan HaBira, the king made another party for Shushan. The Megadol Vad Katan, Mishteh Shevat Yamim, 7 days, Bachatzar Ginat Bitan HaMelech, in the courtyard, in the garden, in the house of the king. Now it's very significant, we'll get back to that. Now it says Chur, Karpas, Utchelet, Achuz Bechavlei Butz Vargaman, all kinds of tapestry and nice linens, Al Galile Chesef, Amud Eshesh, Mitot Zahav Chesef, Al Risefat Bat Vashesh, Vedar V'Socharet. All the kind of marbles and things that they say. All of a sudden it describes all the beautiful things there. It didn't describe it before in the big party. It's all of a sudden describing it in the little party. Okay, just get to know that. Okay, that's enough for now. Okay, first of all, we're going to need a lot of that for later, so I just threw it out there so we don't have to say it again later. But now I want to target on this. It said in the party, Vet Yekar Tiferet Gidulato. He showed off the Tiferet. Tiferet means beauty, but this beauty, splendor beauty, means it's a word that comes from the Torah when we're discussing the Beit HaMikdash and the clothing of the Kohen Gadol. It's called also Pe'er or Tiferet. So it means this is where they know, the rabbis, that he used the cups of the Beit HaMikdash and the vessels of the Beit HaMikdash was at the party. And he came down his stairs, I mean if there were stairs, as a royal show, coming down as the Kohen Gadol. Imagine he had the Kohen Gadol clothes on. And he came down to show everybody that he's the new Kohen Gadol, so to speak. What does that mean? It means he's destroyed the temple by, not that he destroyed it, but whatever that calculation was, that the people before him were mixed up. I don't want to get into all that story. But he thought now the temple is not going to be rebuilt, and he was celebrating. He's celebrating, now I can take over, so to speak, everything. No one's going to take these clothes from me. I can be the Kohen Gadol in my own way, meaning. Not that he wanted spirituality, just he wanted to conquer and be his own boss. That's what it meant. But he wore the clothes for that. And that's what the party was to celebrate. He was celebrating that there's no more Beit HaMikdash to worry about. And the Jews came to such a party. Now you don't go to such a party that's saying we're making the party, the theme of the party is the downfall of the Beit HaMikdash. You see? So it wasn't just a party and they ate unkosher food. We always say that they didn't eat unkosher food, they ate kosher food. So then what was the problem? The problem was you don't go to a party that the theme is the downfall of your temple and your God at the end. That was the sin. Now okay, so leave.
Went to this party?
Huh?
The Jews went to this
Yeah,
party?
the Jews went to this party. So now we can see a little bit why God was angry. Right? It wasn't just a simple thing like we go to a party. Something. This was a different type of party. Now,
You wouldn't go to that type of party today.
if there was one to show the downfall of the Jews, of course not. It's almost like if there was a Hitler Yimach Shemo party, imagine type of thing. How could we step foot in there? That's what it means. Like,
Maybe
how
they were
can you?
afraid not to go because then the king would get really deep something.
No, I don't know. I mean, we could say many things, but at the end, that's what they did. Okay, now, let's do this. See, this is what you're supposed to do when you're learning Torah. I always say Torah has the time of its time, and then time of any other time later. So when you're reading a pasuk, you don't want to get caught in just thinking of the time at hand. Like every time I read Ahashverosh, Haman, I'm going to think about them. I want to kind of clear my head of them. And now read the Pesukim as though there's a fresher, newer story coming out that has nothing to do with them. Read the Pesukim as though what's happening today. You see? But don't keep jumping back to Ahashverosh because your mind won't let you open up to see other things. That's how you kind of do it. You could go through the whole Torah and kind of think to yourself while you're reading it, well, let's see, what do these words mean maybe for today? And we did some of that in past shiurim. That's how you kind of do it. It's not hard to puzzle and piece things together because we kind of have all the information. We just have to kind of connect the dots. There's no Ruach HaKodesh here. It's just connecting a lot of things.
That's why it says you shouldn't read the Megillah backwards.
You shouldn't?
Shouldn't. Yotzi. What does it really mean? Baal Shem Tov says, don't read it like it happened.
Very good.
Then, that's what it really means.
Meaning only, because it did happen, but don't only read it.
Then.
Right, well, very good. Okay, let's just get back to this Vishachanti because I wanted to save it for now and then show something here. Okay. The two Beit HaMikdash, Batei Mikdashot, or Batei Mikdash, however you say it, is alluded to in the word Vishachanti. Now, wouldn't we think it would be fitting for Hashem, who's making a Torah as all-encompassing as it is, and everything's written precisely as it should be in its spot, why would you have a word that has an allusion to two temples and not have the allusion to the third? The third must also be in that word. Okay?
Right.
So let's think a little bit how we might play with that. It might be, now it's not going to last for a certain amount of time that we're going to be able to say how long will it last, so what are we going to talk about? So that's true, because the third Beit HaMikdash stays forever. But maybe we can say that the allusion in the pasuk or in the word of Vishachanti might hint us or clue us in to when it will begin, because there'll be no end. The only thing left is its beginning, not its ending. So maybe that's where some truth will lie in the word. You see, it's got to be in there.
Right.
It's so elegant, the Torah, everything's exact. If 1 and 2 is in the word, number 3, you would bet, has to be in there. So let's try and dig around, see if we can find it. Now, of course, this is only guesswork, so we don't have a source for it. But let's just, see what we got. Well, we've been chopping up the word, Vishachan, and then Ti, and then Sheni. We didn't take the whole word itself yet. I wonder if that might get us somewhere. So let's try. Let's take the whole word Vishachanti and add it up. But before you do that, you have to know a rule. There's a rule in the Zohar, as it has many times as examples. The Vav, which is and, it's called Vav HaChibur. It's the Vav that's attached to the word because it's not part of the word. It says, and I will dwell. Vishachanti. It's not really the word. So it stands alone. What does alone mean? It has its own place. Meaning the Vav, we're going to call it the 6th millennium. Vav is 6.
Nice.
So we're going to say the 6th millennium. And then the other word, Shachanti, will form a numerical value. We're not going to add 6 more to it, meaning. It's going to be year 5,000 something. That will be Shachanti. Okay? For instance, there's a phrase, Ve'et Sarah hi Yaakov. And the Zohar also takes the Vav out. And the Et Sarah adds up to something. I just don't want to give examples, but it does that. The Vav is many times because it's an added to the 6th millennium. Okay? What is Shachanti? If you take the Shin, first of all, let's remember our year now. What year are we in again?
2009.
What 9?
57, 69.
No, we're in 12. 12. That's okay. We just got some numbers going. We're in 5772. Okay, you remember that? Now, let's see what Veshachanti. Veshachanti already takes us to 5.
Write it down.
We're already on 5, right? You get that the Vav is when we say it's the 6th millennium, it takes us to 5,000. Is that confusing? No, because it means 526 is the 6th. Okay? 0 to 1 is the 1st. 1 to 2 is 2. 5 to 6 is 6. Even though we're saying 5,000 something, it's still called the 6th millennium. Okay? Right. So the Vav really turns to be a Hey. That's why it shouldn't be confusing. It's Hey something in Tarikh, in date. Now Shachanti. Shin is 300. Taf is 400. That's already 700. So now we have 5, 7 something. Look, we're already in our time. It's not like it said. It's not like it brought us to year 4, 8 something. It already hit 7, so it's like it's coming close. Let's see what these letters add up to. 5, 7 already we have. Nun is 50. Chaf is 20. What do we have?
70.
What do we say now?
5,000.
No, 50, 60, 70, right? Yud is another 10, 80. The word Veshachanti adds up to 5780. Right now, we're in 5772.
8 years from now.
That would be 8 years from now. Now let me just say on record, I'm not saying what will happen in 8 years from now. We're just saying that that word adds up to that date. I would assume something big might happen that year, because you're not going to have Veshachanti add up to a date and nothing happen. It could mean, and this is again only guessing, maybe that's the time that the third Beit HaMikdash will start. Now that might be a little depressing, because we don't want to wait that long. But that shouldn't depress us. You know why? Because we don't have to wait that long. Most people don't realize that when we say there's a messianic days, it really means a messianic process. There's a process, meaning there's stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. And the way the Ramchal explains, by Moshe Chaim Lutzato, and of course other masters and teachers and Kiddushim, real holy individuals, the building of the Beit HaMikdash is not stage 1. That's stage later. Which means first has to come Mashiach ben Yosef. He comes, he gets us out of here. We actually move to Israel first. Certain Kiddusha hits us, almost prophetic. Maybe Nevuah, maybe just Ruach HaKodesh. Something gets us also in a nice way, and you feel a certain dveikut, an attachment to Hashem, where you can't stop thinking about Him. You know, almost like a bride and a groom, where they're kind of new with each other. They can't stop thinking of each other, of course, until after the marriage. But that type of a thing is how we are going to feel always with Hashem. That it's like we're just madly in love, so to speak. That's what it is. That's the ahava, or the dveikut that we'll have.